Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing just great. So I am going to be doing something a little bit different here. This is going to be called the Spray Cam. So this is Spray Max 2K Clear Glamour, and this is the stuff that I use for guitar bodies. So let's see how this is going to work. So far I have a couple of coats on here right now. And I need to put a few more on here. So, without any more further ado, here's the can, here's the spray. Do a little test spray to make sure the nozzle is not clogged up. And here we go. I hit the edges first. And hit the sides. And I'll do the back. And then let's hit the front. Alright, so looks pretty good. Nice gloss finish on it. Pretty minimum orange peel. And then let's go with probably, let's see, we got maybe one more coat inside this can. That's all right, because I got a whole case. All right, I hope you didn't get too dizzy watching that first part of the video. So I hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing great, and kind of figured I'd make a little bit of a different type of a video. So I ended up putting the camera around my wrist and putting the spray can in my hand and laying out some clear on the Dean Icon body, Icon X, and you can kind of see how I spray it and everything else, and even coats all the way around. So while that's drying right now, well, back to the overhead cam, and I'm doing a fret job, even though I said in the beginning of this project that well, the frets look pretty good, and they did. They didn't look bad, but I figured since this is getting like a complete workover and all new parts, everything else, I bought this guitar as a husk, so it basically was the neck and body, and that was it. Got a few bonus pieces with a control cover and stuff, so I don't have to make one or buy one. But this thing, I figured, you know what, I'm trying to make these used guitars look like they're brand new. So I decided to pluck out the frets, go over the neck with the or the fretboard with the radius block, make sure that is where it's supposed to be, and this has got a 12-inch radius inside of it, and put all new frets. So I'm using pre-bent fret wire, 12-inch radius. This is the StewMac 152 medium high, or medium higher it's called, and I'm pretty much, I'm at the 12th fret now. Frets came out real easy. It wasn't that big of a problem with putting, plucking them out. So I figured that, I'm going to glue the new ones in. The new ones are going in pretty tight, a lot tighter than the old ones came out. So I figured, what, I'm going to just glue them in a little bit anyways. So I got to do something over here real quick. I use the medium CA glue because the medium, when you decide to hammer in your frets, it doesn't like splatter all over the place. But I use one of these wick tips on here, and it kind of gets a little bit of a buildup of glue at the tip of it, so got to cut that off a little bit to make it work out to where it doesn't get clogged up or start traveling a little bit where it wants to travel instead of putting it in the location that you want it. So I got to nip the ends on this because this has a filler. Well, maybe not a filler, maybe they just didn't cut the fret slot all the way down to the edges. So yeah, there's no filler on this one. I've worked on it before where there was a filler on them, and trying to scrape out to clean out the fret slot is a little bit of a bitch because you don't want to get too close to that filler as you're scraping it out and end up pulling that filler out of there. So gotta do a little bit of a nip on here and then clean up the tang that is hanging off the bottom of the fret. Get rid of the little nub that's on there. Making sure I'm going flat to where I'm not cutting into the metal on each side of the fret. And this just makes the fret go in a lot better. So I'm right now just pre-fitting the fret wire, kind of making it somewhat even with the fretboard, just having a lip hanging over the edge of it. Take my thumb, use that as a little bit of a leverage against pushing on the cutter a little bit to scoot it back. Just a little bit away from the fretboard. Make sure you got this, or make sure I have this thing in right so it cuts real easy and it doesn't leave a goofy tang piece at the end of it. File that down. It cuts it pretty close, the tang clipper cuts it pretty close, but not as close as I would like it to. Alright, so I'm going to lay a little bit of glue out right on the slot. The medium glue tends to sit on top of the edge a little bit, so when you put the fret down inside of there, it's going to seat inside there and not just let the glue just drop to the bottom of the fret slot. So like if you would use the real thin, that's just going to go straight to the bottom, plus make a mess when you tap this in. The thicker glue kind of sits at the top as well, but it's a lot harder to get out of, especially when you're using one of these tips. It's a little bit harder to get out. You got to squeeze more on there. So and this side corner here needs to go down a little bit more. And we have a fret. So I'm going to continue to finish this off and go back in the garage and put another coat on that body. This has been hanging around for a couple of days, curing up. This is the final coats of clear. And as you can see there, all the tape lines have disappeared completely through the first sanding of the first coats of clear. This came out really nice. I can't be any happier. Very mild orange peeling. No runs, no sagging. A few pieces of dust in it. If it wasn't for the headstock being nice and smooth the way it is, if it had a little bit of orange peel in it, I probably wouldn't even do any sanding and buffing on this. This just came out perfect. Like I said, other than a little bit of orange peel and a little bit of dust, I can't complain. And this thing is like a mirror. So on the back of it, this is what you get when you use a block to do all your sanding with. You get a nice flat finish. You can see the lines of the closet door. Other than the belly cut that's in the body, it's all flat. Again, the edges for the back side of it, I got a little bit of fingerprints where the hook is, but yeah, this thing is like a mirror. So I got some emails about the Wilkinson's Telecaster, and why haven't I put it up on eBay yet? Well, it's hanging around down here. I will be posting it up on eBay, but I want to get a few guitars done. I have a couple more guitar husks coming in, and basically just probably do some finishing work on them and then rebuilding it. So you guys take it easy, have a good one, and I will catch up with you all later.